That is, and it is a pleasure to introduce, of course, Sriram Somayajula with us, who joins us from Dubai. Thank you so much for your time on the Monday Night Live podcast, Sri. And
Thank
before
you.
we get started, it's only fair that I introduce you rightly to the audience because you're one of those unsung heroes in the cricket space. And you, of course, have been involved in other sports as well, which we'll touch on in some time. But basically, you're one of the hell of the sports analysts, one hell of the sports analysts out there going forward because you look at your resume. Yes, you worked with Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe and Afghanistan, but you've worked pretty much across T20 leagues. You talk about the Kovai Kings or, for example, even the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. You've been pretty much all over the shop. So, Steve, first of all, warm welcome to cricket.com. And how are we? Where are we? Are you in Dubai traveling to Abu Dhabi?
No, yeah, I've just taken a pause. Thanks for getting me down for this quick chat here. Yeah, I've just pulled over and I said, look, I need to get onto this call first. Let your viewers, get bored a bit from the very monotonous, discussions that we will have in the next few minutes, and you've been having over the last couple of hours as well. Uh, Yeah, but otherwise, things have been pretty good. Things have been very hot here. Been 48 degrees today. Yeah.
That is mad. 48, I mean, you can just be toasted with that weather. But let's get straight into it then. I mean, how
Yeah,
did you
but don't
react to
don't
that?
stop toasting me and Delhi Capitals and Ricky Ponting for a while. Let's talk some good cricket.
No,
There's
100%.
so much of negative vibes around, and negative thoughts and discussions going on in the media about someone stepping down, someone getting scrapped off from the teams and stuff. Let's for a moment think on the positive side of things. How who came in, who influenced who. I'm not taking on you here. I'm just generalizing things which has been going around in the media. So yeah, happy to share some thoughts as well with you.
No, and I get that point because ultimately you're in that spectrum and you're in that inner sanctity of the cricketers as well. And you worked with Punter, you worked with the Delhi Capitals. In fact, you worked with JSW across franchisees. How do they operate, firstly? And secondly, obviously, it was a hard decision for these owners to make this call. So, why do you think they made that call? Because it's been a long time.
Look, firstly, I'm telling you, look, Path and his team, they have done a tremendous job in putting together, a team of people. Obviously, that's not, leave out GMR, who then handled about 12, 13 years of, the franchise together. Of course, they've had their own downfalls, and they've had their own success in different ways at different times, right? But like you guys said, I think for 6 odd years when the team didn't click well with Dravid helming things with Delhi Capitals, and then Gary Kirsten, after having won the World Cup for 2 years again, coming back and taking the reins up. Look, it all is possible in a franchise cricket. No one person can come and say, look, I have been the best of coaches for India, so I'll be able to uplift the franchise is so different from a national team setup. So Ricky Ponting has done a tremendous job in bringing people together, in man managing the entire 50, 60 odd people. Also remember, 3 years we were inside the bubble. We were not allowed to see people outside. A lot of distractions, a lot of outside influence that comes into the team were restricted that period, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021. Not 19 so much, but 19 was again a fresh blood. A lot of youngsters coming in. But I must tell you this, in 2019, it's just not Ricky Ponting. It is Dada, also Saurav Ganguly, who brought in that energy into the side. He was brought in as a mentor, and he did a lot of bringing in new players into the system. Of course, with the entire team, I'm not just giving these two gentlemen the due credit there. Obviously, the fresh ideas, energy that came in with JSW inducting into this, into the franchise. Uh, Look, I cannot single out one person. I mean, I have so much fresh memories of 2019 to what happened till 2021. 2022, 2023, 2024 was these 3 years for DC to sort of forget what happened there in with the same kind of team that were there. What happened in 19, what happened in 2022 was contrast, right? Which you don't want to remember as a franchise, as an individual. But it is what it is at the end of the day. That is why we all say and celebrate Mumbai Indians and CSK for being what they are. They have had consistent performance, consistent success over a number of years now. But just sticking on to what Delhi did right was to see off the monotonous approach of what the same coaching staff. Of course, if you had won, if you had been in the success story, you would have continued, which in the case of Stephen Fleming did that. Eric Simmons, I would like to call that one name here. He's been outstanding for CSK for so many years, right? Now, any number of coaches coming on board, whether it's Lakshmipati Balaji or whether it is DJ Bravo who is taking over, but there is one bowling consultant always who has had an influence on their players, which is Eric Simmons. So likewise, Delhi should also adapt some and trust that one person who could effectively get the work out of the bowlers or work out of the players. Look, I'm not taking on anyone. I'm saying is, being in the close quarters, observing what people have done, the trust factor that has to come well. It has to gel amongst the players and the. There are two factions to Delhi Capitals right now, right? One is GMA, one is JSW, but they probably are working behind the scenes together. But in the front, they always are seen independent bodies, right? So when you look at it as a player, as a stakeholder, or as a viewer, you would be saying, their ideologies are different. These people's ideologies are different. But ultimately, remember, it is all for the players. It's all for the support staff. Support staff on a losing day or coaches on a losing day, they always want to be hiding behind. Players on the other side also would do that. They would also come back and say, "Hey, I have not done this. Probably I should have done this. Let me go and sit with them. Let me go and find soft reasons." No singling out on anyone. No trying to take on a cricketer here, right? A person here. But these are the reasons which a successful franchise will say, "Okay, I'll eliminate all these thought process. Let's stick together and be." And Ricky, to an extent, I think he's tried to keep the players together, keep the team together. Win or lose doesn't matter for him. His ideology was to manage the players and the entire people who travel around with the team. He's done a fabulous job. I mean, it's not easy to coach an IPL side, definitely. And for someone like him, I think he was seen as a god for the first couple of years, 2 3 years. When the familiarity comes, it's more like, okay, you are my own brother. Let's go out, let's go and talk, let's go and do some bit of golf and stuff like that. But otherwise, it was that impact that created that turned around the entire team's chances of qualifying first from what where they were. They were finishing eight, they're finishing 7 6. Then you come on all of a sudden, you come on second position, third position in 1920, and fabulous.
Yeah, and you saw it from the close quarters. And in the interest of time, I want Akshay and Nikhil to, of course, ask you a question each. And there is, of course, going to be a Delhi Capital fan perspective very shortly. But you're someone who's worked with various coaches, right, Shri? And coaches normally kind of get labeled as, oh, he uses data a lot, or he's driven by his gut instinct a lot. What is Ricky Ponting as a coach? Because you mentioned the word man management a lot as well. Do you think he just has the ability to get the best out of youngsters because of the cricket baggage that he has from the past, which is so great? People are in awe of him, they respect him automatically. Or do you think he actually looks into certain numbers and facets of the game, and that's where you guys come in and be his savior, right?
Look, I mean, every single coach, like I said again, I don't want to single out a particular coach there, but Ricky is a pure stats person. Obviously, his instincts, look, he's won World Cups, he's won Champions trophies. He's a born coach, I mean, born captain, born leader, I would say, right? So, for someone like him, coaching is a very organic role that he falls under. And I think, personally speaking, he just speaks out of his heart. He doesn't have to write histories and geographies of a player. He knows what he talks, and he comes up with that instinct thought. Okay, today this guy will score, and I'm very sure about it. And today this is how we need to work, because looking at that, that's experience for you. And I've seen that from close quarters, and I'm saying this out of so much respect for him. uh, there's nobody like Ricky Ponting in the world of cricket, who can talk numbers and who can predict. Oh, of course, we all have that. What do you call that one point where we all can predict what's going to happen, because we all at some stage want to be like those expert commentators, and uh, prediction, give prediction analysis and stuff like that. But Ricky lives the game. He understands the game also like anyone else. uh, and he's a pure stats person, right? He does so much of homework, and we have had long meetings. Sometimes you go on to the extent of having 7 hours, 8 hours of meetings at a stretch. We've had those, the brainstorming sessions. Um, he will listen to you patiently, which is a great, attribute of a person. Again, he gives you a chance to speak. He lets you speak, and he understands. He wants to understand what you speak actually, right? What you have to say of a player, what you have to say of a combination going into a game. So I remember, just take you through a small instance. And against SRH, we're playing qualifiers in Abu Dhabi, right? SRH is obviously again a very very good team, and they've had very good success in comparison to Delhi in the playoff games, right? So we were discussing, and then there were one faction said there's no way I will have Stoinis to open, and we were very adamant going by the records. And I was making a pitch, and I was putting my neck on the line. I said, if this is not happening, I'm gone this year. No longer I will again continue in this team. So it worked in favor of us, and we said Stoinis is going to open. We had I think we didn't play Prithvi Shaw that game, and then Shikhar and Stoinis opened. It paved, and that forced Rashid Khan to come and bowl in the power play, and we could bank on our other batters to go and finish the game, especially Hitmeyer and all of them, who did the job actually pretty well. And in fact, Shreyas Iyer as well later in the innings, got a bit of a cameo there. So my point is that some kind of instances where it really worked, there was a lot of planning behind the scenes, and Ricky does emphasize on these areas. And I think it's just not Ricky. Like I said, Dada sits, he does a lot of homework. James hopes. So like that, you have several coaches at several instances bringing out their expertise and intelligence, and they all work with the numbers and graphs. We sit down, work through the dashboards, in and out, and the players particularly. I mean, do not discard that effort of the players. It is the players who give maximum inputs, maximum efforts, because they are the ones who are going to go and execute there.
Yeah, the players are playing a huge part, and we've seen, especially in that 2020 season, how Delhi had such a slick team, if I say, because you talk about Akshar and Ashwin, and how Dhawan was kind of getting the maximum from the twilight of his career at that point in time. Stoinis and Hetmeyer were brilliant. Akshay and Nix, I'll let you get in here and have a question each for Sriram, because I apologize to Sunny Singhal, who's part of the DC Toli, waiting patiently. Sunny, will get your thoughts in just a bit. But Akshay and Nix, really quickly, in the interest of time, what do you want to ask Sri today?
All right, I'll go first. So Shri, hey, what's up? Just one thing in terms of how Ricky's sort of time at DC went about. To be honest, I generally think it was a fairly good stint for him at DC, and not as bad as social media makes it out to be. 3 out of 4 seasons is where he finished. They finished. I mean, they had a playoff finish in the first cycle. In the second cycle as well, 2022, we all saw that they were in the hunt for that playoff spot till the last game, that DCMI game. We all remember that. Even this season, probably a couple of results here or there, they could have very well made their way into the playoffs again. Genuinely thought they were one of the teams who punched above their weight this season. 2023 punts, unfortunate absence, so that really did not help them. So all in all, very sort of a stint that he can be proud of. now that DC are looking past him, and there is someone like a Saurav Ganguly who himself is very, like he is going to be there in the setup. You see DC once again looking at a second coach or a second sort of personality over there with Dada, or do you think they might probably look at sort of Ganguly itself being the sole sort of playing the sole role of coach and mentor going forward? How do you see this playing out?
Look, this is all to do with the confidence. I mean, it's just not about Ricky Ponting there in the franchise cricket, right? There's so many people who are involved in it. The coaching staff comprises of heavyweights. Like a couple of years back, Shane Watson was there, and then you had Ajit Agarkar, then you had Dada, then you had Praveen Amre, then you had James Hobbs, Ricky Ponting, Biju George. All of these guys, look, you have 10 coaches in a team where you're going to make decisions on just with the captain and who's going to be 11. Like everybody says, 2023 Rishabh Pant's absence actually, let the team down. I wouldn't say so, because if you look at Rishabh Pant over those 2 3 years, he barely had the kind of strike rate or the impact that he did in 2020 and 19, 18, 17, and all of that. Look, 2017 and 18, 19, Rishabh Pant's strike rate was close to about 250 against certain type of bowlers, to what was on a contrast in 2020 to 2022. It was in downhill. It was completely going south. Look at against a particular type of bowler, say left arm fast bowler. He was just going about 120, where he used to be actually taking them down through the mid wicket or behind the square. It's actually the players who found their ways against Rishabh Pant, right? And Rishabh Pant's captaincy, was not. Uh, glorified in 2022, simply because the kind of I wouldn't say legacy, but I kind of where it started to where Shreyas Iyer left when he left in 2021. He was just lucky. I mean, Rishabh was lucky to get that captaincy moved to him in 2021 because of Shreyas' injury. But then he is a smart thinker. Rishabh works on his instincts, and I don't know whether he actually does his homework behind. No, I did spend a lot of time with him, but he's more of a instant decision maker on the field, as opposed to Shreyas, who gives it a lot of thought process to each of these decisions that he will be making, he will be wanting to execute on the field. To answer your first part of the question, again going back to Ricky, why will Dada be leading, or will somebody else take over as a coach? For me, like I said in the first instance, right? It is not just one coach. Ricky Ponting, we all know, is an exceptional leader. But I think now the time has come where people have to look for a change and look beyond a name. If a person like a Ricky Ponting, with that kind of records that he's had, and the success that he's had in Mumbai Indians in 2013, and after that, if he's not able to come and turn around the table for a Delhi Capitals for so many years, I think, in my opinion, right? Again, no disregard or no uh, disrespect on anyone here. They will have to start thinking right from the scouting point of view and the auction point of view. There could be a big hole in their auction strategy. I'm not saying again they should have had 1 2 games and they could have had. That's the probability of losing and winning a championship in an IPL, right? We can never say it's probably one more game. It's like you're trying to convince yourself for losing, right? And you want to be in your comfort zone, and you don't want to raise up and say, look, I have lost 6 games in an IPL, this year. And what are those 6 games? How did I lose that? I mean, go and dissect the game results, you will understand better. So I think it is not just the coaching staff or just one person, Ricky, here. Probably a mix of all of that, and the kind of work that they do in the background from now onwards to what they want to set up in the auction. Probably clear the complete puzzle, make it a clean table, come start from ball one again, set up your team from scratch. You have 120 crores probably coming up this auction in your purse. So start from scratch. Don't wait on what has happened behind and then just the names. You never know. I mean, Ricky Ponting was there. He was the one person who could have taken this team entirely to winning a championship, which didn't happen. So now throwing all the money on all your players like Akshar Patel or Kuldeep or Rishabh or XYZ is not going to help you, right? Start your building up your franchise from now onwards for the next 5 years, 10 years to see where you can achieve.
It really is insightful, Shri. Some of the stuff that you're telling us right now. And who knows if Delhi actually scratched from the start, because those owners, even though it's a 50-50 stake, they are, of course, aligned with what they want to get out of this franchise. Next, final one from you then, and one from the comments before we let Shri go. And really, really appreciate how much time he's given us. So, Nikhil, what do you want to ask Shri today?
Yeah, hopefully my voice can get through. Firstly, great to hear the insights in terms of how franchise works and how things happen at the other end. Just a question on something that's very common these days in terms of, a lot of times we see a lot of events happen, and there is a lot of notes outside that. How has this decision been taken? Of course, there is a gut feel part to it, and there is a data part to it. So sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. So how do you kind of go back and have that conversation after the game? That when you look back at the game, you feel okay. This is the point where maybe we back gut or we back instinct. So how do you then prepare and have that communication through that? You're not trying to say blame anyone here, but just trying to get to the thing that okay, maybe next time this is how we'll think about it, and how do you go about those situations?
Look, it's a game of probability, right? You can never understand or predict what 100%. That's why it's called prediction. Now, you will, as a human, you want to go and win every time. I mean, if you're sane, if you're sane, and obviously you would think right, you would want to think that okay, I'm going to go and play this game to win this game, right? So, I mean that the probability is what matters here at the end of the day. If you say that the success ratio on a good track, good game, your success ratio is saying about 85% of chances for you to win, more often than not you will find yourself on a winning side, right? But that is a process. You got to stick to your process. Now you come back and say on a game where you have lost by 5 runs, where the mistakes happened, no point in analyzing them, because it's just one misfield, it's just a one drop catch, it's just a one four buys or a wide or a no ball, something, one small mistake. The less number of mistakes potentially can lead you to winning a game. But again, there are a lot of games where things have gone to the last ball, uh, by losing by 1 run, winning by 1 run. It's actually an effort from both sides. Ultimately, you go back. Sometimes you don't talk anything. You just want to say, "Look, guys, well done. You guys did try your best," because cricket, is played on the field, just not on the computer. Sitting back and looking at the pitch maps. I can say all of that, but the boys will show that courage on the field. That matters a lot, and that's what even the coaches, that's why I said, at the start of the call here, Ricky Ponting is one of the best man managers, right? He has a tremendous quality, and is got one of the best abilities I have not seen of from another coach to manage. I mean, everybody has a different way of managing. Ricky's flair, comes, the charm comes and talks, the way he speaks, the way he understands each and every person individually off the field. He gets into their DNA. He becomes part of their DNA as well as sometimes. So I mean, that's a very rare quality to have as a coach as well. And I think I'm sure the Washington Freedom now is benefiting of Ricky in MLC, and they're doing well. They're at the top now. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck to Ricky Ponting in whatever endeavors he chooses as a coach. But really quickly, then a last question from the chat, because a couple of them just generally want to understand how you've kind of gone about getting where you've gone to, the great heights of being a sports analyst. Now, Parth and similar guys in the chat saying, I have a question, sir. What is your advice and roadmap for someone who wants to pursue a career in this field? Really quickly, what can they do? Do they study sports management and then it's a luck game?
I, I don't know how I actually survived in this field for so many years, but I think one underlying factor is that it's passion, because how much ever you study, you get yourself equipped with all the knowledge that you want to possess. All of that, I think at the end of the day, the passion, the sheer passion. I've worked in places where I did not bother about how much money I will be getting out of that team. These days, a lot of people, want to look at how much money they get and how much, I will be. I mean, of course, that's important. I'm not sort of, eliminating that side of thought process. Um, but I just didn't bother. I said it's 50 rupees somebody pays. I'll do the same effort as what somebody gives me 5 lakh, right? So nobody should relate or equate this with the monetary gain that we get out of it. Passion, and that should be underline that. Without passion, you will not be able to achieve this one. You can be from any background, right? You can be from a mechanical, you can be a mechanical engineer, you can be a civil engineer, but if you have passion for sports, get into the deepest of the work that you can actually learn from this cricket industry or sports industry itself. Know everything in detail. Technical know-how is very, very important. It's critical for any job, because tomorrow when a coach is asking, not just in cricket, in any sport, if you do not know or if you do not convince, either you are not actually convincing yourself to go and say an answer and you're just floating your answers away, or you are not convincing the other person, that means you are not good enough to sort of establish your point, right, technically. So you will have to assess. Only it can only be these two. If you have got a chance to work with somebody and then you don't know, you're not proceeding further for some reason, take quick assessment of yourself. You will realize what it is, and it cannot be anything beyond these two, in my opinion.
Yeah, technical knowledge is absolutely important. Thank you so much for your time. And go check out his website, guys. It's not a plugin of any sort, but I was really amazed even before I got in touch with him that he has such a cool website. It's literally his name, SriramSomayajula.com. And good luck with everything going forward, Shri. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully. And with that 48 degrees as well, you should be wearing black. You shouldn't be
Yeah,
wearing black.
yeah. Yes, yes. It's fine now. It's about 7 p.m., so it's okay.
Super.
Yeah,
We'll leave it
catch
there,
you
Shri.
later.
Thank you so much. And we'll, of course, move on to another guest. Thank you so much, Shri. But we'll get Sunny